The rise of Domino's Pizza, from $14 to a billion-dollar empire. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another fascinating journey into history, business, and the power of persistence. Today, we are going to explore the incredible story of how a poor boy, who lost both his parents' love and guidance, rose against all odds to build one of the largest pizza empires in the world. This is the story of Tom Monahan and his creation, Domino's Pizza. It's a tale of hardship, betrayal, resilience, lawsuits, controversies, and innovation. From starting with just $14 in sales on the very first day to eventually owning over 18,000 outlets worldwide, Tom Monahan's journey is not just about pizza, it's about ambition, survival, and the spirit of entrepreneurship. Tom Monahan was born on March 25, 1937, in a modest, working-class family in Michigan. His father was a truck driver, and his mother worked as a nurse in training. Life was tough, but tragedy struck even harder when Tom was just 4 years old. His father passed away, leaving the family in a financial and emotional crisis. Unable to raise her children, his mother handed Tom and his younger brother Jim over to an orphanage and foster care system. Imagine being a child, stripped of both parental love and stability. Instead of bedtime stories and warm family meals, Tom grew up with the harsh discipline of foster homes and boarding schools. He struggled academically, barely passing high school. Later, he managed to get into the University of Michigan, but soon realized he couldn't even afford tuition fees. At this point, his dreams seemed to be slipping away. To survive, he started delivering newspapers door to door, learning the basics of discipline, time management, and customer service, skills that would unknowingly shape his business future. By 1959, Tom was broke and discouraged, but then his brother Jim came to him with an idea that would change everything. Jim was working as a postman, but also had a part-time job at a small restaurant owned by a man named Dominic DeVarty. One of Dominic's old pizza stores was up for sale. The deal? $500 up front and taking responsibility for a $2,000 debt on the shop. For two broke brothers, even that seemed impossible. But they took a leap of faith. Borrowing $900 from the post office credit union, they managed to buy the restaurant. On December 9, 1960, they officially opened the store. It was called Dominic's Pizza. On the very first day, the total sales were only $14. It didn't look like the start of a billion-dollar empire, but history was being written. Brothers in conflict. At first, the idea seemed promising. They kept the shop open from 5 p.m. to midnight, so Jim could still work at the post office and Tom could try to attend classes. They even began offering delivery by hiring 2 local factory workers. But as time went on, reality struck. Sales dropped when college semesters ended, customers were inconsistent, and tensions rose between the brothers. Jim wasn't putting in the effort, and Tom carried most of the workload. Their arguments escalated until one day they nearly came to blows. Eventually, Jim walked away from the business, selling his 50% share to Tom in exchange for a Volkswagen Beetle that they had purchased for deliveries. Jim thought he was being smart by walking away with a car, but in truth, he had just traded away his chance at becoming a co-founder of a billion-dollar brand. A solo struggle, Tom sacrifices. Now fully in charge, Tom gave up his college dream to focus entirely on the pizza shop. He often slept inside the restaurant, ate burnt pizzas to survive, and worked endlessly to keep the business alive. Slowly, sales improved. He learned from competitors, studied recipes, and eventually acquired a special sauce recipe from an Italian friend that became a customer favorite. This was Tom's first real lesson. Success often comes from small improvements, not grand miracles. The betrayal of a partner. As sales grew, Tom wanted to expand and open a second branch, but he couldn't run 2 locations alone. Enter Jim Gilmore, a restaurant operator who seemed like the perfect partner. They struck a deal. Gilmore would run the first branch while Tom opened a second. But there was a catch. Gilmore never paid the $500 he had promised for his share. Worse, he secretly wrote the agreement so that he shared profits but not losses. This meant that if the business failed, Tom alone would bear the burden, and fail it did, at least at the first branch. Gilmore's mismanagement, drinking habits, and possible theft caused sales and quality to collapse. Tom realized too late that he had been tricked. After a bitter legal battle, their partnership ended, but the damage was already done. A name problem. From Dominick's to Domino's. As Tom rebuilt, another problem struck. The original owner, Dominic DeVarty, was unhappy that Tom was expanding under his name. Customers were confusing the two restaurants, and DeVarty demanded Tom stop using Dominick's. Losing the name felt like disaster. Years of effort branding the shop could vanish overnight. But then inspiration struck. A delivery driver suggested a new name, Domino's. It was short, catchy, and similar enough to keep customers familiar. Tom loved it. The new logo featured a domino tile with 3 dots, representing the 3 stores they had at the time. Tom once joked that he originally planned to add a new dot for every new store. But with today's 18,000 outlets worldwide, that would have been impossible. One of Tom's biggest breakthroughs came almost by accident. One day, much of his kitchen staff didn't show up. Overwhelmed, Tom simplified the menu, removing extra items and focusing only on pizzas. Surprisingly, customers loved it. Sales increased, and operations became smoother. Tom realized a powerful truth. Simplicity scales better than complexity. Domino's stopped serving multiple food items and focused entirely on making and delivering great pizza, fast. This focus also allowed Tom to innovate delivery. He introduced corrugated cardboard pizza boxes that kept pizzas hotter and sturdier for transport. He also pioneered the insulated delivery pouch, something every pizza chain uses today. Rapid growth. The franchise model. Instead of running every store himself, he let others invest, while Domino's supplied branding, recipes, and systems. Unlike Pizza Hut, which invested heavily in dine-in restaurants, Domino's kept costs low by focusing on delivery and carry-out only. Their locations were often near colleges and military bases, places where quick, affordable food was in high demand. By the late 1970s, Domino's had over 200 stores across the U.S. By the mid-1980s, that number exploded into the thousands. In 1984, Domino S launched one of the most famous and controversial campaigns in fast food history, 30 minutes or your pizza is free. This bold promise skyrocketed sales. Customers loved the guarantee. Either they got their pizza fast or they got it free. Domino's became a household name, growing faster than ever before. But there was a dark side. Drivers began speeding and breaking traffic laws to meet the deadline. Accidents increased, and lawsuits followed. In one tragic case, a Domino's driver caused the death of a woman. Courts fined Domino's millions of dollars, and by 1993, the campaign had to be dropped. This showed the world that growth at all costs can backfire, selling the empire. By the late 1990s, Domino's was everywhere. But Tom Monahan was tired. After decades of stress, lawsuits, and controversies, he decided to sell his company. In 1998, he sold Domino's Pizza for $1.1 billion. He used much of his wealth to fund Catholic charities, educational institutions, and philanthropic causes. From a poor orphan boy to a billionaire entrepreneur, Tom's life had come full circle. Even after Tom sold Domino's, the brand wasn't free from controversies. In 2009, 2 Domino's employees filmed disgusting pranks in the kitchen, sneezing on pizzas, using unsanitary practices, and uploaded them to YouTube. The videos went viral, damaging Domino's reputation. The company had to respond quickly, firing the employees, issuing public apologies, and launching a massive campaign to rebuild trust. Ironically, the scandal forced Domino's to reinvent itself with a pizza turnaround campaign, where they admitted their past mistakes and improved recipes. Fast forward to today, Domino's operates over 18,800 outlets worldwide, even surpassing Pizza Hut in store count. Every single day, they make over 3 million pizzas globally. Their innovations in delivery, technology, and online ordering have kept them ahead of the competition. Domino's is not just a pizza chain. It's a symbol of how persistence, risk-taking, and adaptability can turn a struggling $14 business into a multi-billion-dollar empire. That hardships don't define you, your response to them does. That betrayal, setbacks, and even lawsuits can't stop someone who refuses to give up. From an orphanage to a billion-dollar empire, Tom Monaghan's story is proof that dreams do come true, if you are willing to fight for them. Thank you for watching this documentary. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible journeys from history and business. Until next time, stay inspired.